Okay, Sean O'Leary, IFA's National Dairy Committee Chairman. Sean, enormous turnout from farmers and from the industry. As National Dairy Committee Chairman, concerns from your own sector in particular, the likes of Jim Wolfe saying this morning that cheddar could be worth 16 cents a litre for farmers. Just how real is Brexit? Beef has always been the big talking point, but dairy, the concerns for dairy farmers and your members.
Yeah, and I mean there is an awful lot of concern out there, and as you say, beef has been the headline act, but in terms of dairy, and in particular for the cheddar market, and Jim has referred to that, back to WTO levels, you're talking at worst case scenario at 16 cents a litre. But I was just thinking on it a little bit back to a farmer that I met last week from Finland. And it was referred to earlier here today in terms of the Russian ban and what actually happened there. You had an immediate drop in price, obviously after the ban. Markets recovered a little bit in terms of moving volume, but it's in terms of the value of those markets was never recovered. You still had a 15% drop in price as time went on, and that's our biggest danger here. We're producing a top quality market, top quality product, and farmers have taken on a lot. They've bought into the plans, the Foodwise 2025. They've put the heifers in place. They're milking the extra cows. They've taken the expensive land, SDAS. They've taken all that on board. And what they don't need is the rug to be pulled from under them. They've made 20-year commitments. I've seen a lot of the discussion today. It's about cool, calm heads, and that's fine. But there's a hell of a lot of passion, a hell of a lot of worry amongst farm families. That they've invested in something, the game has changed, and that they're not, that their voice isn't being heard. I think it's our job as farm representatives. The minister will be here and the commissioner to get that message across in Europe, and I think that's going to really be the challenge, to show how isolated in some respects the individual feels, to tap into that and to put the building blocks in place. Joe Healy's outlined the areas that we need dealt with. The border is obviously important. The co-ops operating on both sides of the border. But that cheddar market into the UK, that high value market, that has to be corralled and protected. And we need that. And if things change over time, farmers will be ready and the industry will be ready.
As you say, farmers have invested. You can't flick on a switch and turn on and off production. There's a 2-year cycle to get a heifer into calf and up and lactating. So, in that context and what you've said, what do we need to see? What do dairy farmers need to see out of Brexit talks, which start this week?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, you need a continuation of policy in the short term, in terms of that nothing is going to change overnight. Obviously, the negotiations are going to be kick-started as from next week on. But I think whatever happens in terms of the deal, farmers, the industry, the processing, you need clear sight. And I know from talking to Jim Wolfe and Kevin Lane and others within the industry, they're scenario planning for different scenarios in terms of finding alternative markets. If one door closes, another door opening. And the Commissioner said today, he wasn't kind of pulled up on it, that there are going to be opportunities in there. There might be opportunities in there at a niche level, but as the Minister said, has been saying over the last week, and I'm sure we'll say in the afternoon again, there is no good news here in terms of Brexit. So I think it's basically a continuation in the short term, but putting those building blocks in place that, whatever the situation is, that farmers have a decent lead in time to whatever happens. And the other thing that's obviously been mentioned in terms of a strong cap, that's important, both in terms of the direct payment side, which is 32% of dairy farm income, which is often lost, but also in terms of the market support. That volatility, which has been there pre-Brexit, is going to be further exacerbated by Brexit. And having those controls and intervention, APS, all of those are vitally important. The Minister spoke about, or the Commissioner spoke about, further volatility coping measures. I'm sure he's talking about the likes of margin insurance and futures markets and all of those. That's fine. I think that's important that we look at all of those. But in order to put those in place, you're also going to need further budgetary measures to finance those, and not be coming back to a situation where you're looking for farmers to, if you like, insure themselves against the market.
And finally, the dairy sector with regards to the hard border and a potential return to a border of some sort or another. You have Arrivo, you have Lakeland, you have Patrick, all, and Glanbia even going across the border several times a day. The concerns of checkpoints and a physical border, across the 6 and 26 counties.
Yeah, and I think we've heard that there again today. The hard border is something everybody says that they don't want, but you have to. Are those just positions being taken, or is that the reality? That's the ideal situation. We don't want a hard border, but if obviously there is going to be a border of some ilk in place, be it hard or soft, and it's basically using technology, I think, to have a situation where the fellow driving the milk lorry, the fellow going over and back with the loads of animals, that he's not stopped over and back, going about your normal daily business, and it is an all Ireland basis that we operate on in terms of animal health and everything else. We heard Bert Stewart say today, but in terms of the collecting milk, taking it to for processing, and indeed the products going back in the other direction. I think utilising technology just to make it a business as usual as much as is possible. There's nobody hiding their heads in the sand and saying everything's going to be normal, but you make the best of what you of the hand of cards that we're dealt with. It's going to be a challenge, but I think over time and there was a certain commonality of purpose today in terms of an industry approach, a national approach. And even within the EU, but I mean, there is a lot of shadow boxing going on, people taking positions. I suppose it's the end result. Nothing is going to emerge quickly, but as farmers, as an industry, we do need a clear line of sight. As you said, the cow in calf producing milk profitably, it's probably 3 years before you're actually, those are decisions being taken now. And if farmers need to make decisions, cut their cloth, they'll do that. But they need to know where the rules of the game are.
Thanks very much, Sean.